Welcome to DISC Profile. The DISC Profile is a great way to know people's personality type. There's 4 categories: D, I, S, and C. So if you're not familiar with it, it's everybody really fits into one of these 4 categories. So I've got just a maybe 30-minute presentation that's just some fun verbal and visual cues that you can use this with family, friends, everybody. It fits into one of these categories. So it's super, super fun. So we are going to get started. Be sure to use the question button if we can help you with any questions. All right. So closing the sale using different personality types. Okay. First of all, I'm Jennifer Hernandez, Legacy Mutual Mortgage, been lending for 26 years. And only about 3 to 4 years ago did I really figure out this personality style thing. I think we all naturally just sell or communicate the way that we want to be communicated with. And there's 3 other personality types other than ours that are out there. And we need to really, make sure that we're working hard for all of them. So I've accumulated this information. Also, we are going to post this later on my YouTube channel. So Loan with Jen is on YouTube. I've got a library of over 300 videos for buyers, sellers, anybody that's looking to buy a home, wants to know more about mortgage. So make sure that you go to Loan with Jen on YouTube. Thanks for subscribing. All right, here's what you can learn today. You're going to learn about the 4 personality profiles, how to identify quickly a client's profile. Like we can't just send a link to people and go, oh, hey, take this DISC profile test for me. And it's just not logical, right? You can do that to someone that you're going to hire, but not someone that you're trying to assess within minutes what their cues are. Learn some communication techniques to help you with the different personality types. And then learn some stronger sales skills around these personality types and how, again, it goes to communication, how to talk to and how not to talk to the different personality types. So this is going to be super fun. This is actually my favorite thing to teach. I know it has nothing to do with mortgage, but it really does. This just has to do with just being a human on this planet. This is a fun quote that I got intro to. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. So George Bernard Shaw nailed it with that one. Okay, so the D, I, S, and the C. So these are just some overlying basics, okay? So a D is a very dominant personality. And I'm an I, okay? I talk with my hands. I'm just total type A very intrapersonal type person, like social butterfly, that's an I. So those 2 people, the people that are really dominant, like, let's get it done now, they're like a driver, okay? They're fast talkers. Blah, 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 blah. They just like want to get to the point. So the slower talkers, the S, you can think of the S, they're real steadfast, steady. Those are more like teachers and people that are in the social work industry, people that are, firefighters, usually, okay, I'm stereotyping a little bit, but usually people that are more, they stay the course, they work with people. I mean, teachers are just a classic example. Nurses, for example, their love language is helping people. Okay. That's why they're in the industry that they're in. The C's are more of like the engineers, like engineers, appraisers or C's, people that work with numbers all the time. They're just very factual, like get me the data type people. The S's and the C's are super slow talkers. Like they're very calculated and very, jury's out on this. So I'm giving you the shortcuts here at the beginning, and then we're going to dive deep into some of this. So fast talker, they're a D or an I. Slow talker, they're an S or a C. Again, the same with the walking. Fast walker, D or an I. Big hand gestures like, the slow minimal gestures. They're kind of sitting back in their chair. They're just kind of, that's the S or the C. Okay. Sit down at the very bottom of this slide, sitting forward, intense, alert, like just a bunny waiting to just chomp on somebody. That's a D or an I. Leaning back in the chair, relaxed, taking it all in, really just, the jury's still out. I'm just still kind of observing this whole situation. That's an S or a C. Okay. So we're going to dive deeper into these. This is just the very beginning. So before we get into it, a couple of examples. This is just fun. So when you think of who a D is, again, that means dominant, like a driver, like really forceful person. So we've got some famous people that you should all probably know in the first line there. D's are Donald Trump, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Judge Judy, Barbara Walters, Oprah Winfrey. They're all D's. The I's, remember, that's kind of an interpersonal, high personality. They've got to be around people. They're very social. Richard Branson, Jim Carrey, Dolly Parton, Robin Williams, may he rest in peace, and Ellen DeGeneres. Okay. S, they're just very steady, stay the course. They're very loyal people. They don't like change. They're just very like, okay, I'm just going to stay. How can I just avoid conflict? And I'm just going to stay the course. Okay. And this is very a generic definition, but you'll get the point. So Nicole Kidman, Nelson Mandela, Tom Hanks, Jackie Chan, and Julia Roberts. Now the C's, remember, they're more like engineer-like, numbers, to the point, very specific. They probably just love eat Excel spreadsheets for breakfast. Bill Gates, Al Gore, James May, J.K. Rowling, and Warren Buffett. So that's, now that you kind of can imagine some of the people that you probably recognize and know, that kind of helps you understand a little bit more just quickly about the disc. Okay. So again, these are just some colors, and we're going to go first we're going to start with the D. It's to the right, the top right. So the D on the right side of the graph it stands for dominance. Okay. The conductor. They tend to take charge, quick decisions. Now, to the right, the box on the right, the red box, you'll notice some things, the tendencies. Okay. Now, approximately 10% of the population is a D. Now, this information is aggregated through people that have actually taken the DISC test, okay? Like it doesn't cover the whole population because there's many people that have never taken the DISC, but of the data of people that have taken the DISC, this is the data that has come from that. About 10% of the people are possibly D. And again, these people are identified with like power, okay? They're just power players. Their tendencies are to be assertive, direct, decisive, aggressive, bossy. I've got a D on my team. My brother Kenny, for 18 years, he's been my right hand, and I joke with him, but he is like the boss of just the universe. Like he's sometimes just so overwhelming with his bossiness, but man, that dude gets stuff done like no one I've ever seen. And I need D's around me. I need someone because I'm an I. So I'm going to go to that one next. The I for influence. They're a socializer. I can be in a room with people that I don't know, like 100 people, and I'm like, just fine. I'll just mingle and chat everybody up. And, I love it. So that's about 15% of the population that has taken the DISC test. Now, enthusiastic, expressive, warm, optimistic, talkative, impulsive, noisy, disruptive. I don't think I'm necessarily noisy or disruptive, but again, at times. But some of these things, 100% apply to somebody, and there might be something that doesn't, but you get the idea. Like mostly when you meet someone and they're talking with their hands really fast, you know they're either a D or an I. Like it's almost certain, okay? But then as you keep getting these cues, you'll be able to identify, everybody has, just as a segue, I'll mention this, everybody does have a secondary tendency. Like I'm an I and then I'm a D. So everyone has some two dominant ones. Everybody has a little bit of all of it, but some higher than others, okay? So again, we've gone over the I, about 15% of the people. Now let's go to the left and of this slide, and we'll go over the S. S stands for steadiness. So they are the supporters. They're someone who tends to be easygoing, gentle, very considerate of others. Now, this is really this is one of the most important things I want you to take from this presentation. 60% of the people are S's. So when dealing with your clients, all of us have clients or friends or, family, whatever. 60% of the people are S's for the most part. So we need to probably really focus, especially if you're not an S, you've got to really focus a lot of your language and a lot of your, I know at work here in my office, a lot about the loan process, I make assumptions that most people are S's in most everything that we do. So their tendencies are to be patient, cooperative, scalable, reliable, consistent, passive, a little bit stubborn, slow to change. They might have a harder time with paperwork or understanding documents or just understanding the process. They might get kind of rattled easily. That's an S, okay? And we need S's too. I've got a couple people on my team that are S's and they're fantastic. They're like some of the best team members that I've got. S's usually have S and C together. The D's and the I's usually go together. It's just really the primary and the secondary. It's just real interesting how that happens. But 60% again of the population tends to probably fall in the steadiness category. Now, the reason I put promise there, if you look in the yellow part, they need promises. Like they need you to reassure them. And that's kind of the primary love language that they've got. Now, if you go back to, I'm going to divert a little bit because I didn't explain this on the other. So on the D, the 10% power that you see in the yellow square there, 10%, they relate with power. Like they're like this. Now the I's, 15% down below, the people means they need people. They need to be around people. They need to be social. They need to not be cooped up. That's what really makes them tick. So that's what the word in the yellow means. So now we're going to go up to the top left of the slide, and we're going to go the proof, 15%. So these C's need proof. They need proof of things. They're analyzers. They do have patience. They're orderly. They're usually quiet. They're sitting back in their chair if you're visually with them, or they're on the phone and they're just kind of quiet. They're calculating. They're deciding. They need numbers. They need proof. They need an Excel spreadsheet. They need data. When they're looking at an inspection report, they're like, well, let's see what the data says. They do not usually go off their gut feeling. My husband is an SC and he has to have the data. Like he's good at analysis. He needs to see how the numbers work. That's how he rolls. Appraisers, I do loans, and so we deal with appraisers all the time. So appraisers are C's, like 100%. Like they need to see the data. They don't put a lot of emotion and how they feel. That doesn't go into the appraisal. It's all about the data and what the data shows. Okay. So this hopefully helps you, a good overview of this profile. So think about what you are. You can probably identify with at least two of these of kind of what your dominant is. Okay. So we're going to go over D again. I'm just going to go a little bit deeper into each of these. Okay. So again, the D is directive, assertive. They're results oriented. They are creative, but not as creative as like an S, for example. But they're creative with coming up with solutions. So the D on my team, he's like 99% D. He is coming up with solutions. Like, he's just a triage. Like, he would be great in an emergency room. Like, he's great at that. So that's what I mean by creative with solutions and ideas. Okay. They very much seek achievement, and they very much seek control. They want to control the whole situation. They do have a difficult time with delegating, probably, for sure. So a little bit more about the D. They respond to pressure with control. So when they feel pressure or they feel threatened, they will try to control all of it. So if you've got a client or a spouse or a kid or whatever that's resisting and battling up against, not going with the flow, and they want to control everything, they're likely got a lot of D in their personality. Okay. They want things immediately. So they're motivated by achievement and control. Again, they want to feel like they're driving the situation. To work with Ds, we need to have common goals clearly identified. So asking really good questions in the beginning, like for me with the loans, when I usually can tell pretty quickly, because it also their job title, I usually can tell, and just in the first few minutes of conversation, if they're a D. And I make sure to be real, like I repeat what I heard, and we'll go over some more communication styles a little bit towards the end. But it's very important to be super clear communication with a D, and bullet points on emails and stuff. Now the I's, remember, social butterfly, positive thoughts, everything's good. Like, I'm super glasses like half full. I would never say half empty. Like, I'm like optimistic. Like, I'll forget negative things that happened years ago. And my brother's like, don't you remember that? I'm like, no. I've already blocked it out. That was negative. I have no recollection. Like, that's pure sign of an I. Okay. I'm when it says down here on the bottom that I'm an appraiser, like I do survey the situation. Like, I'm not an appraiser, like a property appraiser, but I'm like an appraiser means they're just kind of assessing everything, taking everything in. I'm also a business coach for top lenders in the nation with a company. I'm a counselor. I love to coach people. Like, that totally is my mojo. Persuader, promoter, those are all characteristics of an I. Now the I, so they don't really like pressure. When they do, they tend to kind of snap. So I have a tendency, when I feel pressure, I will snap back. I'll just snap back. So sometimes I have kind of a quick fuse, and then motivated by positive communication. Like, I love that kind of stuff. I mean, I love to go to those kind of seminars, and I love, Tony Robbins and all that stuff. I'm all into that. So I's, you'll really, as social strategy and the I's are more receptive if there's some kind of already pre-existing relationship. So it doesn't take long to get a relationship with an I. Like, you might want to just chat them up a little bit, ask them about their kids, just get a little bit, like, not go right into business, but not too much. Okay. That's the D in me. Like, I like to chatty, but not too much. So that's the D in my personality. I'm like, okay, chat, but not too much. And then let's get to it. But I do like to know about people. So that's the I part of me. Okay. So on the S, again, S stands for steadiness. They're motivated by time. They like a promise strategy, like, oh, hey, I like reassurance and promises that you're going to get this done for me. Like they'll trust somebody wholeheartedly if they believe in it and they feel comfortable. Okay. They do not like conflict at all. So when I'm talking to them about the process, I'm like, hey, there's going to be turbulence in the process, and I am here to make it all go away. Like, I'm going to take care of you. That's how the S is. That's what they want to hear. They're okay with knowing that there's going to be some turbulence in the situation, but like, how are you going to help me like fix it? Like, I don't want to know that there's trouble. So they're very, very, very loyal people. They like to investigate. They like to deal with someone who's a specialist. They're very, like I said, very trustworthy. They don't like change. And they're great achievers. Like, I have an S on my team, and she super competitive. And, think of nurses and teachers. I mean, they're achievers. They're amazing. So that's a little bit there. Now for communication with the S, they respond to pressure by avoiding conflict. So they like make it go away. I don't want to go there. They don't really like to hit things head on. They don't like conflict very much. They do try to see both sides if they're in something for the most part. When negotiating with them, give them a promise strategy. If you assure them that you're going to take care of them and you're going to handle anything that comes up that might be not according to plan, those are very good words for them. They are motivated by time, so they don't like sudden change. They don't like interruption. They need time to shift. Like an I can shift and change. Like a D and an I, it's like, okay, yeah, let's roll with it. Done. We're going a different direction. The S's, my husband is an SC, and oh my gosh, he takes like forever to make a decision on something. So sometimes it's like, okay, but that's who he is. He likes to consider all the angles. So that's how an S is. Okay. And remember that 60% of the population, and they like a promise strategy, like, hey, I trust you if I feel confident that you're going, like, that you promise me that you're going to just like handle it. This is the best product. And sometimes they actually, just one thing I'll mention, they need you to make the decision for them. Like they really need you, like they'll consider all the options, but they're like, oh my gosh, I can't decide. I don't know. I'm not sure. They need you to take charge and just lead them by the hand and say, okay, based on what you've told me, blah, 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 my professional opinion is that this is the strategy for you. And that's probably what they're going to go with if it truly is in their best interest. Okay, now the C's, they're the C stands for conscientious, and they need proof of stuff. Like doctors are probably C's for the most part. They're objective thinkers, they're perfectionists, they're a practitioner. They're very, very straight and narrow. So that's how the C's work. They respond to pressure with evasiveness, where they really are like, okay, I need to hold out here for a minute and wait for the details to come out. And like, they don't make quick decisions without data. So they're a little evasive if they don't have that. They could change the subject. They're like, okay, I'm not going to answer that because I don't want to give the wrong answer. Like I don't have enough information yet. When negotiating with them, using the proof strategy, like the details, like for me, I give clients an Excel spreadsheet that I build out, and I'm like, oh, these are the numbers. Like, this is the proof. These are the numbers. This is how it works out. This is your monthly payment. Like, give them the data to help them make a decision. So they're motivated by, in the very last box I've got here, they're motivated by fact and detail. So before they accept anything, they need to see all the data. So something that I ask all of my clients is, do you have enough data? Do you have enough information to make a decision? Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is no, but that's a great phrase that you could work into everything that could apply to everybody, no matter what profile they are. Do you have enough information to make your decision? So you might want to write that down. That's a good one. Okay. General characteristics of kind of, just again, going through this again. So I'm trying to be repetitive so that you can memorize this and be like, okay, they're a D, they're an I. So again, the D, they put a large value on time. They want to get through it as quickly as possible. Business owners, a lot of business owners are Ds. They like to take charge. They're busy doing a lot of things. They tackle anything. They're confident, direct, demanding, forceful. They have vision. Like they can see the future. That's a D, more than likely. The I's are more concerned about popularity. Is someone going to like me? They're more emotional feelers. If you're a realtor and you're selling them a house, it's like, oh my gosh, I can see the parties that you're going to have in this living room. And look, it's looking out to the backyard and the pool. Like the eyes, you kind of got to deal more to their emotions and how they feel about things, how it's going to make them feel. The S's, calm, patient, consistency. As I mentioned before, they're looking for authority and direction. They're looking for you to take charge. They do not make a decision easily. The C wants to understand everything. They're analytical. They're very fearful of being wrong because of the data. Okay. So it's hard for them to have gut feelings. So remember, back to the initial cues that we had. I'll go back to the slide up here. Remember, the fast talker, the D or the I, slow talker, slow gestures, leaning back in the chair, that's the S or the C. Okay, so just going back to there. I'm going to go forward in the slides a little bit. Okay, we're going to go through a few scenarios just on communication. Probably have about 10 minutes left. Just a couple of real life scenarios. And this is all from the aspect of, let's say that you're a realtor, okay? Because I deal with a lot of realtors. So you hand your client an MLS data printout of a bunch of different houses, for sale. And you say, hey, here's the data. So the D, the dominant one, is going to look at the price, the square feet, and the taxes. They're just looking for bullet points. So they don't want a lot of detail. They're like, give me the 2 or 3 things. That's all I need. The I looks at the picture. Oh my God, the backyard. This living room is so large. Oh my gosh, it's got, the big bay windows, that kind of thing. The S's don't really know what they're looking at. They're totally overwhelmed and confused. They're probably just, the process is like, it's a lot for them. Like, oh my God, change is about to happen. The C is going to read every single line of the printout. So you can tell by just how they're responding to the information, are they a D, I, S, or a C? Now, another scenario is as you walk the client back, into the interior of the house, you ask them, like every realtor should, are you excited about this house? Oh my gosh, it fits all of the criteria that you guys are looking for. The D is going to give you bullet points, like how many bedrooms, what's the price, how many square feet. They're going to just be looking for the quick data. The I is going to talk about something that the house made them feel in a certain way, like, oh my gosh, the kids' bedrooms are just so big. I love that they all have, their own bathroom, and the paint color was so amazing. We won't have to do anything before we move in. The backyard is perfect, that pool and the kitchen, the, outdoor kitchen, that they're going to be talking about features. The S, for the steadiness person, is not going to want to get too excited yet. They want to see the payment. They're fearful. What if I can't make the payment? Is this too much house? They're thinking about all the things and the reasons why they should not buy it. Too good to be true. The C is going to say, well, yeah, let's see how the inspection goes. You can't really ask them to get excited because that's not how they roll. They don't think emotionally like that usually. So they're like, yeah, we got to see. Yeah, we'll wait to get excited until after the inspection. They want a list of details. They want the list of, I want the list of all the electricity bills for the last 5 years. And I want to know how much they spend in yard maintenance. And I want all this data. Okay. That's what they're going to ask you. And they're going to avoid the answering question, by the way. They're not going to say they're excited about anything. Okay. Now the next question is, how should you respond? Like you, with whatever your personality is, how should you respond to a D who's like square foot, price, blah, blah, blah? You give bullet points right back to them. You talk to them like they're talking to you. The I, if you know that they're an I, you keep asking them about feelings, how they like it, the color scheme, blah, blah, blah. The S, remember they need reassurance and promises. So, hey, this is, Sally, this is 90% of, this is a large majority of what you were looking for. This, of everything that we've seen, my professional opinion is that you should make an offer. Remember they need your help to help them make a decision. The C, you want to talk in pros and cons. Hey, I've gone ahead and made a list for you. I would just whip out a piece of paper and on one side put the pros and the other side put the cons about the data. So, hey, these, based on what we've talked about and seen before, these are the pros of this option and these are the cons. What do you think? What's your analysis? Do you need more information to make your decision? What can I get you for information? That's how you talk to them. So another interesting way to look at things is, how do these different personality types deal with fear? All of us have fears. It's super normal. So the D, they don't like being taken advantage of. That's their biggest thing. They are fearful to be taken advantage of. So don't sugarcoat with them. Don't try to convince them of something that's not there. That wouldn't be the right thing to do anyway, but like, get to the point. Okay. The I doesn't really like rejection, and they want to feel like you care, give them praise. That's how they deal with fear. The S, their biggest fear is loss of security. Remember, they don't like change. So don't ever say, I can't really guarantee the closing date, but I'll do the best I can. This is where maybe saying, hey, there's going to be turbulence. We're going to get you through this. No worries. Whatever comes up, I'm going to deal with it. That's why so-and-so referred you to me. I am your advocate. I am here with you. Like, I am in the mud with you. Like, that's what they want to hear. The C, they get super fearful about criticism of their work. Like, so again, I do loans. And so an appraiser, right? An appraisal does an appraisal, and there's always a few of them that nobody likes the results. Maybe the appraised value came in low. So when we give a rebuttal to the appraiser, we've got to remember that's like calling their baby ugly. Like, hey, you did the data wrong. You did this wrong. So we got to be really careful and stick to the facts, because if you go in and start attacking them like a pit bull of, oh, you did a horrible job and you weren't thinking about this and blah, 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 they're just going to shut down. And we're definitely not going to get a reconsideration of value at that point. So just remember, when you're talking to someone that's a C, they need praise too. Like, oh my gosh, these numbers are like, you really took a lot of time to put all this analysis into this. Was this considered? Really just, being very, from a very neutral standpoint, you can question the numbers without questioning, their ability to divulge into the numbers. Okay. They don't like making mistakes. Not like, nobody's perfect, right? But there's a way to communicate to them without criticizing the work that they've done. And just a few last things on communication, something that you can say if you're in person with somebody. On the D, remember that's dominance. They're the aggressive ones. You could say, hey, Mr. Smith, before I jump in, is there anything that you would like me to cover? What's important to you? And be direct and to the point and be done with it. Don't be too wordy. On the I, the influencer, you would want to say, hey, tell me about the house. Tell me about what you're thinking. Excuse me. Tell me about what you're thinking. Tell me about your feelings about the house. What does your gut tell you? They definitely make gut decisions. Okay. The S's, you want to take charge. I put here, be the boss, but don't be too bossy, but just, ask them, make them feel secure. Remember the promise strategy. They're concerned, acknowledge that, say, hey, you seem stressed or you seem, a little bit concerned about this option. Let's go. Let's talk about it, right? They want to be heard. They want to talk about it. C, they want the details. So you could give them the info and say, what do you think? What does your analysis tell you? Okay, definitely let them have their 2 cents worth. Okay, so email. So email is misunderstood all the time. So email, remember the D's are, the dominant, powerful people. Put the important thing in the subject line. Don't be too wordy. They want to know exactly what you want. Bullet, short, to the point. The I's, I can tell you the I's, I like bullet point as well. The D's and the I's are the same. It's like get to the point, but they also, maybe the first sentence, don't get right into it. Be like, hi, hope you're having a great day. Like do a little bit of kumbaya in the first couple of words and then be like, okay, hey, this is what the email's about. The S's, they want to know why. So respond with, I've got this, I'm taking care of everything, not to worry. Again, they want to know that you're handling it and that you're going to take care of them. The C's, they need detail. They probably would like bullet point as well. They want to know how this works. They probably would like an explanation, hyperlink an article for them. They're going to research. So I give shortcuts to the research so they can save time in researching. I just go ahead and hyperlink the articles for them. I do it for everybody, actually, just in case. But hyperlinking an article or making, having a video of detail explaining, what your proposal is would be very helpful to a C. So that is what I've got today. This is just a super fun topic. And I think the more you dive into it and just practice it, the better you're going to get on it. So, watch some YouTube videos about it. Watch this again. This will be up on my YouTube channel within a couple of days, and have fun with it. It's just super fun once you can really figure people out. And if you need anything loan-wise, call me. My information is here. Would love to help you on a mortgage purchase or refi. And thanks for attending today. I appreciate it.
Legacy Mutual Mortgage is an equal housing opportunity lender. The opinions expressed here do not reflect those of Legacy Mutual Mortgage.